What's up, everybody? I know it's been a while, but this is me, your host, Evan, and this is On the Grill Sports, and today I'm coming at you to give you a recap of the series so far between the Astros and the White Sox. Obviously, this is being the home opener series for the Astros. We've seen a lot of things, and I'm going to break them down for you today. First off, right off the bat, today is currently April 1st, which means that the Astros defeated the White Sox today 6-4. Overall, and I was at this game, I think it was a pretty decent game. Urquidy didn't pitch amazingly, but he also wasn't terrible. You know, he had a few big pitches. I think he struck out, who was it? I think he struck out Eloy Jimenez or Yoan Moncada with the bases loaded in the third inning. He made some big pitches. He made two mistakes that he ended up paying for 2 home runs that gave up 3 runs for Urquidy in the 4 innings that he pitched in. But overall, wasn't terrible. Bullpen was pretty solid. Brunel Blanco came in, pitched 2 innings, I believe, very solid. I think he had 4 strikeouts. Stanek came in, pitched a few. Who else? And then Neris closed it out. Things got a little shaky. Obviously, had some bad luck, some bloopers that ended up falling for hits, but he got it done, and the Astros closed things out 6-4. Yesterday's game, Christian Javier started the game, and he gave up a run in the first, but was cruising along through 5 until he ran into some trouble in the 6th, where he gave up 3 doubles in a row, which would kick him out of the game. The Astros were down 3-0. It wasn't looking very good because, and I'll get to this later, but based off what we saw on the first game of the series, a lot of fans were thinking that this wasn't going to go our way. And that is until I think it was the 6th inning. Kyle Tucker hits a 2-run shot to cut it to a 3-2 deficit. So now the Astros were right back in the game. Just next inning, Yordan Alvarez stepped up to the plate with the bases loaded, cleared the bases with a double. Later on, I believe, who was it? David Hensley, I think, in the bottom of the 8th would have an RBI single. Astros would end up winning this game by a final score of 6-3, and that was basically. It was a pretty good game. Astros came back yesterday. Now, the game before that was a bit harder to watch. Fromber started 5 scoreless, pretty solid. Bullpen, pretty solid, until Presley came in the 9th. Mind you, the game was tied at 1 apiece at this time. Offense hadn't really done much at all that day. Our only run was from a wild pitch. Ended up giving 3 runs. I think Andrew Vaughn hit a 2 RBI double. That would be the difference maker. Yordan homered in the bottom of the 9th, but didn't really matter after Presley gave up the 2 runs. So that's basically been the series, right? We've seen the Astros get dominated in Game 1, and then they dominated in the later innings, and today, for the most part, in Games 2 and 3. Tomorrow, I believe we have Luis Garcia going up against... I'm not so sure on who they have tomorrow, to be honest. But I do know Luis Garcia is pitching. Do not know who the White Sox have sending out there, because at least 2 seasons ago, I would have said Carlos Rodon, but they don't have him on their team anymore. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't keep up with the White Sox. I don't really care about who's on their team or who's not. I don't really care about their roster. I guess that is something that I should know. But at the end of the day, I don't really care. All I know is that the Astros, they've looked pretty strong the past few games. They've looked more like themselves. And I think they're going to go out there and they're going to win tomorrow. They're going to take 3 games out of 4 of the series, going on Detroit, who hopefully should be, I'd say, a pretty easy opponent. It is Detroit. You can't really expect much from them, but it should be very interesting to see how the Astros go out and play tomorrow. I think they're going to get it. I think they're going to get it done. But so far, the series has been pretty good. I think the Astros have done a good job at going out and playing hard, even if they don't necessarily get off to the best starts. I think there's been several points at the series where we've been losing, and then we've been able to climb our way back into the game and win. See Game 2. But I want to pick a few players who I've kind of started to see blossom in the series. Number 1, Jeremy Pena. Obviously, he's looked really good. He had another multi-hit game today. He looked really good at the plate, was getting some really hard hit balls today. Drove in a run. Yordan Alvarez had another multi-hit game, 3 hits today. Drove in a run as well. He's looked great. I think he took a 100-mile fastball on the outside corner all the way to the Crawford boxes. Not into the Crawford boxes, but off of the wall that the Crawford box has. The scoreboard, mind you. And he looked pretty solid. David Hensley continues to have very impressive at-bats whenever he gets playing time. He looks very solid. I believe he had a hit today. Chaz McCormick came back and had an RBI single. You love to see it. I'm forgetting somebody. Abreu started off the game rough. He had 3 straight strikeouts, but then 2 hits to end the game, including his first run batted in as an Astro in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's when we kind of opened things up. And, yeah, Ronel Blanco, I think this was his first pitching appearance of the regular season. And I don't know if it was his first, but if it was his first, he looked fantastic. Went out there and absolutely shoved against the White Sox lineup. Nothing more you can really ask from a guy like that. I'm really, really excited to see Ronel Blanco this year. I think he's going to kind of be like our Brian Abreu of this year. The Brian Abreu 2022, except 2023, is going to be Ronel Blanco. And I'm excited to see what he can do. He's got nasty stuff. He was throwing upper 90s, wicked slider. Basically, yeah, I mean, this is basically what you get from Abreu. So I'm excited to see what we get from him. I'm trying to remember what else I wanted to pinpoint. The Astros are currently second in the division, with the Mariners losing tonight, and I think the Angels won, and the Rangers won again. We are 2-1, while the Rangers are 2-0. Rangers have been getting off to a hot start. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they have scored 27 runs in their first 2 games against a pretty good Phillies team. Am I concerned about the Rangers? Not really. This year, in terms of the division, I see Seattle in Anaheim. I'm not calling it Los Angeles. I'm sorry, they're not in Los Angeles. They're in Anaheim. Can we start going back to that? The real LA teams, Dodgers. Everybody knows that. Anyway, yeah, Anaheim, Seattle. Those are the really only 2 teams that I see being like big competition for us this year. I don't really think the Rangers. This is their year. Their rotation may have gotten better, but I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with the real teams of the league, let's be honest. I don't think the Rangers are going to get there. I think they're going to deal with a lot of injuries. They have a lot of injury-prone starting pitchers, and, I just don't think it's their year. Give them like a year or 2 before they could really start getting competitive, I think, but I don't really think they're going to give us much trouble this year. I think they're just off to a fluky hot start. They do have a good offense, though. Nathaniel Lau, seriously underrated. Yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the series so far, talk a little bit about the division. We play the White Sox one more time tomorrow. I think we start later than we did today, because today the game started at 1, so I think it does start later tomorrow. But we'll be back at it tomorrow, and I don't think I'll give my thoughts on tomorrow's game. I don't know. We'll see. I might. But I'm working on some other stuff. I filmed some footage from spring training that I'm putting together. I'm going to talk about my experience. I also went to the Great Britain versus USA game for the World Baseball Classic a few weeks ago. Got some footage of that, even though it's very poor footage because it was shot on my old phone and it had a broken screen recorder. So, yeah, but you might see that coming. So just keep an eye out for that. But that's all I have for now. I'm on the Girl Sports. This has been your series review / recap, and I hope you guys have a great day, and go Astros.